man. Welcome to the Huddle with Rome. I got my big bro, A-Rob, Alexander Robinson here, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good, man. Half the time I don't know what day of the week it is, but I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I'm
Man,
happy to be here, man. I've watched some of the other ones that you've done with Evan, Coach Grant, Jalen. So I appreciate you bringing me on.
yeah, I appreciate that, bro, man. Yeah, you look good, man. You always look good, man. I know you in that gym.
I don't feel good, but I appreciate it.
That's what's up. What's up? Yeah, man. So what I like to do, the first question is always start with something that like me and you both know. So this
Yeah.
happened. I want to say it was my sophomore year of college. I think that's when the time like you had entered the draft and you end up getting picked up the Vikings. Do you remember like meeting me for that first time?
Yeah, you and Beckman came down to camp. Yeah, yeah. You still
Yeah,
had dreads?
yeah, I had
Yeah,
dreads. Yeah, so
yeah.
yeah, I mean, man, that was a dope moment for me because obviously, like, I seen you when I was a shorty, and then like I like seeing you live out your dream. That was kind of dope, and plus that lit a fire in me because like seeing you do it, and we came from the same school. I was like,
Yeah.
man, like that's like if that was something I wanted to do, I know it was very attainable. So I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all had that experience, man, or at least you did, because it's like, you oftentimes you see professional athletes and like that they from different realms and you don't get a chance to like speak with them, chop it up, or like hear their experience and things. And so I'm glad that you got at least come down to that camp, right, and see everything up close and personal. I actually think I remember a picture from it, maybe
Yeah,
on like Facebook or something.
yeah, I
So
got. Don't trip.
yeah,
Don't talk about that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and ever since then we've been locked in. That's how like we
yeah.
got our relationship started. So that was dope. So yeah, let's get into it, man. The origin story. So where you from, man? Where you grow up at?
Yeah, I grew up in South Minneapolis in the 40s blocks. I was actually talking to my sister about this the other day. We bounced around a bit, but like my primitive years were in the 40s blocks. I grew up on like 47th and Park, so pretty close to McRae. And then we bounced around. We ended up settling on and like by close to like Pearl Park, Todd Park in the 50s. So most of my years were spent between those two kind of neighborhoods there. But yeah, South Minneapolis, born and raised, and that's home till I die.
Right, no, for sure. That's how I feel. I'm a north sider, so I'm always gonna be a
Yeah,
south sider, despite where I
yeah,
live now. But if it's in you,
yeah,
it's in.
yeah,
So growing up, what were some of the things you were into growing up? You said you were a Southsider. I know how it is over
yeah,
here. So, what were some
yeah,
things you were interested in growing up?
yeah. That's funny, man. A lot of people like always like, oh, you probably always been an athlete or whatnot. Boom, boom. But I was a big nerd kind of growing up. You can see behind me, I got bookshelves. I got three or four like book areas throughout my house, but I lived in books, man. I was somebody that would, read under the moonlight. Parents would like turn the lights off. I'd be like, all right, be under the covers with a flashlight, reading and things. So I used to get lost in books a lot, but a lot of people that I hung out with were older. I had older siblings and cousins that were older than me, and so you go outside and you run around, racing people on bikes, playing football in the streets in different yards, you know, fighting and whatever. It was just like to me the normal childhood experience. We didn't, and you was probably like this too, but I was probably one of the last generations of the street lights. So it was homework. I didn't grow up with technology. Moms had very strict rules around when the TV could be on, what we could watch. So it's like get your homework done. You want to go outside, or some kind of like after school program. I don't know if they still have these, but like the Blaisdell Y had like after school programs and things. King Park had one. So just some of that different stuff. And I was never really like I had people around me that was kind of gravitating towards the streets, but thankfully for me, as I was growing up, it was always like, man, you a sports dude, go play sports. Don't hang around this or this about to go down. You get out of here. This so for me, it was never. I was never really like in the streets crazy. I knew people that were, but it was more so me as like just being outside playing sports and stuff. That was, or hiding in the house reading books, getting lost in Goosebumps and choose your adventure and reading and stuff. So that was that was what I was into pretty much growing up. It's just head down. I had glasses early on, so that killed it for me.
It's funny that you said. I remember I was my freshman year. I was looking through the old yearbooks of Coach Grant, and I
Yeah,
think one of your pictures you had like some super thick glasses on. I was like, "That's Alexander." I was like,
yeah,
"What?" I was like, that's crazy. When you look young,
Yeah,
when you're a freshman and you going through your stages. Not obviously I know what you look like as a senior, but I'm looking like, man, that's crazy how like that stuff don't leave you.
yeah,
All right, cool. So what inspired you to start playing sports? And was football your first sport, or was basketball or
yeah.
anything?
No, actually, my first sport was actually soccer.
Okay,
I played soccer, but I think for inspiration, it was just like I said, man, we were part of that street light generation. So you go outside, somebody gonna be playing something, throwing a football, kicking a ball, shooting hoops. Basketball was really my first love, and that's what I was drawn towards basketball at a young age. But soccer was really like what I played growing up. My mom put me in dance because apparently I was uncoordinated, so I did tap and ballet for a couple of years. You get old enough, you're like, I ain't doing it no more. That's it. Like I'm
what age did you start ballet?
oh man, I had to be second or third grade and I was like, I'm
Okay,
done. I think it was like 4 years that I did it. Because
yeah,
I guess I was a little uncoordinated and she was like, we're gonna put him in there, get some coordination. And but yeah, man, soccer was my thing really growing up. I played basketball. I really played all sports, football. I remember we played McRae, the Green Machine, in like second grade. I was a quarterback for the Green Machine. So yeah, I got into sports pretty early. That was just always a part of my life, being like in the neighborhood, kids playing. Like I said, I had older siblings and a lot of older cousins. So as they were playing sports, you always try to tag along and get in. And, even if you was the last pick, you like, I want a little man on my team. It's like, I feel good about that and getting picked up. So yeah, from a young age, just playing in the neighborhood, that's how it got started for me.
sorry for. And then you said you played at McRae. Did you play at McRae from second to eighth grade, or did you move to any teams?
Yeah, I moved around. So I played in like second grade for McRae, and I don't know if they stopped the program or what happened, but or maybe it was because we moved or something. But I didn't play football from after second grade until fifth grade. So fifth grade, I played with the sixth grade team at Pearl Park, and so I played 1 year at Pearl, and then I played for PAL sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, and so. That was based over north where the armory was and
Yeah.
things. And so played for PAL then. So I moved around a bit. So started with McRae, played for Pearl for like a year and then PAL from then on out. So
So when you mentioned Powell, was Coach Rucker your coach?
yeah,
That's your
yeah,
best, right?
yep,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah. See, I
So yeah,
know
so
Powell. Yeah, I played against Powell too. So, and I remember he was the coach there. So yeah, that's what's up.
yeah, yeah. So that was it, man. There were so many great players on that team that I think of. I don't know how many went on to play D1 college sports, but there was a bunch of them that went on to play like college sports just from the one team, the PAL team that we were on.
Hey, talk about
Uh,
put some names out there.
yeah, so I'll start Xavier Rucker, obviously. My cousin went to Nebraska and then he finished out at Howard. Brian Williams, he finished down in New Mexico. Romaine Martin, he played basketball in Illinois. Rick Parks, he played down in Arkansas. Um, Cam was on the team.
That's
Cam Reynolds. Yeah, we had.
I
I'm
know
telling you, man.
because Rick
Yeah,
went
we
to
had.
North, Romaine went to North.
Yep.
I'm North, so I'm right there. So I seen all them growing up too. Dang, and
Yeah,
yeah,
there was a couple other guys that went on to play in like high school and I think in college as well. So that team was stacked, man. I think we went either back to back years. 1 year for sure went undefeated and won the championship, and maybe we lost one game the next year, but I think we went undefeated back to back years and won championships with those teams. Yeah, it was a stacked team.
yeah, that's crazy. That team sounds like an all star team. But just imagine, like I be thinking about that too, like because you have your teams in middle school, you be dope. Like I had 1 year my fall team was really good, and I was like, man, what if we all went to the same high school? Like, I know Romaine went to D for like a year or two, but like still though,
Yeah,
like I be thinking like that. Why don't people just follow each other? Like you good, like it's a no brainer. But different circumstances, and then obviously private and public is it's different for some people. You can't that
yeah,
financial burden is crazy.
yeah.
So, did you play running back at Powell?
Yeah, so I played running back at PAL, and I also played linebacker. I was a middle linebacker at PAL. I played D in there. They had me everywhere, man. But I really enjoyed like linebacker and I played running back. I don't know why I was a DN, man. You play wherever when you're young. Like,
You
well,
don't
why
even
was
get
I?
the
Yeah,
position for real. Like when
yeah,
you're younger. What so did you when you was okay, we back on this on at Powell, with all these good players, like what made you stand out?
yeah. I think it was just speed at that point, right? Like everybody was good. Everybody was somewhat athletic. At least as you think about those middle school years, and you starting to try to like figure out your body and things.
Mhm.
But I think it was I could run. Man, that was the biggest difference. I was always either the fastest or one of the fastest on the team, and that's really what like helped me stand out. Like when I turned the corner, it wasn't too many people or anybody that was gonna catch me at that point. So
Right.
I think from when I really started playing, even from Pearl and McRae days, I was one of, if not the fastest on the team most of the time. So
Were you smaller or were you like big for your size back?
no, I was small, man. I would never say I was big for my size. Even as I think about playing in college, I never weighed more than 187, 188 maybe. So I was always small, and I'm not like backs nowadays 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3". I'm 5'10", and so it wasn't. I was never like a big dude, but I was strong. I would say for my size, I was pretty strong. So yeah,
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we go. Did you play any other sports before we move on from the middle school age? You
basketball.
hoop, right? Did you hoop for
Yeah,
Pop?
I hooped. I didn't hoop for Pal. I hooped for like Pearl during that time period, and then my middle elementary school was Risen Christ, and we had a team there
Okay.
too. So we used to play like Ascension, Northeast. I'm for Our Lady of Peace, who was also over South. And so I played basketball for them. And crazy story, I also wrestled too, bro. Like
Okay, you
I'm
did it
telling you, I
all.
ran the gamut. I did it all.
Well, I do, man. You know what's funny, dude? Because like all like good football players have hoop dreams. Like that's
Yeah.
like I think because you can see the players from
Hmm.
basketball, and there's so many games and all the
Yeah.
highlights you can do. Football is not. It's dope to see if you a real football head, but basketball is a little bit more exciting. So
Yeah.
for me, like I knew the same thing. I'm like I'm in seventh, eighth grade. I'm hooping. I'm grabbing a rim, trying to dunk all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm hooping. And
Yeah.
then I had to think. I'm 5'7" and 3/4, so I'm mad growing. So
Yeah.
when we get to high school, our dreams get cut short, and then we have to pick. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
yeah, it's crazy. That's why it's funny though, because everybody had hoop dreams, and so when you get
Yeah,
to high school and you see your friend that was y'all the same height, you get about 5 inches taller than you. You like, you got it, bro. Go ahead.
yeah. That's what happened to me sophomore year. Everybody grew. I came back. I'm like, dang, I ain't grow. I guess I'm gonna have to go ahead and leave this alone and focus on ball and track. Like I was like, dang, yeah. But everybody has. And I think to your point, like it's just more accessible. You see it. It's more of a globally recognized sport, right? Than football is. So
Yeah, yeah. That's my 2 cents on that too, because I was one of them dudes too. Where like I'm a hooper, but then I'm like, so it's time to pick a high school. You a Southside kid. You got the
yeah.
public schools over there. What was like the ultimate decision on going to DeLaSalle?
Yeah, so my older sister went to D, and so that was easy for me to see, kind of like, hey, it's right there. I kind of know some people that go, and then to your earlier point about like people chatting and try to go to the same high school that you grew up playing with, we tried to get as many guys from that PAL team into D as possible. And some it worked for, some it didn't. Different reasons, whether it's financial aid or grades or whatever. But I also played basketball at D my eighth grade year. And so I played on the freshman team. I think it was me and Romaine Martin, or two like eighth graders that played on the freshman team. Um, and so so I saw it a little bit. I was familiar with the teachers, and so that was like choice one. Or I was like, man, I kind of want to go to Washburn because it's in the neighborhood, and a couple of people from my middle school was there. Holy Angels wanted me heavily. One of my best friends ended up going to Holy Angels, but we played like a hoop tournament there. At the time they like we ain't got black people here, so y'all come here, we'll help you out, and we'll make it worth your while. But so Holy Angels was on the list, Washburn for sure. I think I looked at some schools in St. Paul too, like St. Agnes, and like when I went out there, I was like, "Man, St. Paul's dirty." Hey, I grew up in
No shade.
Minneapolis. No, I'm gonna throw some shade at St. Paul.
No.
That's how it is. Everybody that's from here know, like people from Minneapolis don't go to St. Paul. St. Paul don't really come to Minneapolis. Like
Right.
it just is what it is. But I went out there to St. Agnes and looked at them and was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not coming out here." So those were really, but D, obviously my sister was already there. It made it easier for like my mom if she was going to try to drop us off in the morning or we are going to catch the bus or whatever. It was just easier for both of us to go to the same school. And so thankfully I was able to get in some help from Brad Casey. So shout out to Coach Casey vouching for me. And then so that was the choice really for me. I was familiar with it. My sister was already there. So it made it for an easier transition. A lot of people I knew were also going to D too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool, man. When you got there, so you
yeah.
come from Risen Christ. Was Risen Christ a predominantly black, like private school, or was it
No, it was a Catholic school. It
or
was like a
Catholic?
public Catholic school.
Right.
Yeah. So it was located over South 38th Street. So, man, there was a lot of people from Risen Christ that went to D because of the Catholic connection.
Hmm.
So it was a lot easier for people to go there. Yeah, that was just it was easy. It was an easy transition for me to go to D from Risen Christ. But it was, I would say, we're a pretty diverse school. So a lot of like black kids, a lot of Mexicans. We had white kids in there too, but it was a pretty diverse school.
And then when you got to D, it was kind
Yeah.
of like similar. Like so, my impression was when I'm like, I'm not going to no private school because when you think of private, you think of white because that's what they show us on television. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like that's all you know, man. And when I got there, this is my experience, and then I want you to tell me your experience. So
Yeah.
obviously you had left you Cyrus, and I kind of like knew y'all from afar, right? And then I knew Jeremy Randall as well. When I
Yeah.
got there, I seen dudes like Cedric McMiles, Jeremy Randall,
Yeah.
D'Angelo Williams, Dan Broderick was there at the time, LaQuell, and I'm looking
Yeah.
like, what? I'm like, all y'all go here? Like, y'all knuckleheads go here? I'm looking like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I did my shadow. And then I was like, okay, yeah. I'm like, all right. Then all my guys that I grew up playing with, we went to D. So that's kind of like my story. But so, like, when I got there, I was just like, wow, this is not what I thought it was. Like, this
Yeah.
is better than I thought it was. So, like, talk about that. Like, because people think, like, oh, DeLaSalle High School. No, we got a lot
Nah.
of people that look just like us, act like us from the hood. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say you nailed it, bro. Like D, in my opinion, D was the most diverse school in the state. We had kids from all over, north, south, St. Paul, suburbs. Um, you had kids from different backgrounds. It was just a very diverse school. Like, so a lot of black kids, a lot of like Mexicans, white folks there. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of people that went to like other Catholic middle schools as well. So like a lot of people from Ascension went to D. And that was like our arch rival in middle school. But yeah, man, I'm thinking like I wish our freshman class would have stayed together throughout the entire time because we had so many people in that class that were just, man, had great potential and doing great things today. But like I'll tell you one story. This is to give a bit about the culture of D there. So when I was a freshman, we may have had either the biggest class or the second biggest class at the time. Um, and the clips grinding was like coming out. And
Right.
people would do it on the lunch table during lunch hours and people would be freestyling. And that's the way it was. And people would be like standing over the railings trying to listen in on the lunchroom of who was freestyling and not. And man, it was just culturally it was very diverse. And I don't know how it was for y'all, but I don't feel like there was like a lot of cliques, right? Like people had groups that they would hang with, but for the most part, everybody interacted. It was no exclusion or like you can't hang with this group because these are athletes or whatever, whatever. Like everybody kind of melted together and was willing to welcome others into their circle. And that I think that made for a great experience of, getting to know people from different backgrounds. Like, oh, I didn't grow up in, St. Paul or like, oh, I've never been to the South Side and the North Side and like, where'd you grow up? And so I think it really brought a lot of people together.
No, that's what my experience was too. Like I always
Yeah.
tell people, like even on the football team, nobody had egos. Everybody wanted everybody to be successful.
Yeah.
At school, hey, let me see that package Sapansky gave you because this junk is hard. Like
Yeah.
it was like everybody showed love. Like I don't think it was ever no beef there. Like for real.
Yeah.
Like it was all family. Like that's why I tell people to this day, like De La Salle, it don't matter what year you graduate. If somebody know that you went to De La Salle from 1970, 1950s, and they run across you, it's like family. Like
Yeah.
it's an automatic connection. Like because we share the same experience for the most part.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
No, that's why I call it Islander family, right? Because it's again, no matter what generation, I know people that graduated in the 50s and 60s that I talk to are like, oh, you went there, boom, boom, boom. And yeah, people were willing to share. I don't know, you had Brother Davis class, theology.
No, I was scared of that class. I couldn't do it. I wasn't finna take no quiz every week.
Yeah, man, them quizzes, he had the same quiz week out. People was coming in the morning sharing answers and yeah. But that to that point, that's just the environment that it was. Like people would be willing to help and pull their arms around you and help you out. So
Yeah. So talk about so yeah, since we on like the school, talk about like the academic rigor. They told me it's gonna be 2 hours of homework, and I was like, whatever. But they was not lying. It was literally 2 hours of homework every
yeah,
day, give or take how you do the 2 hours. And just talk about like that. You said you were kind of a nerd,
yeah.
but still though, like you got sports. I'm sure you played football, basketball. Did you run track your freshman year too?
Yeah, I did. I ran track my freshman year. I think that's when Beckman and there's this other coach that they started coaching at that point in time, but they started their careers there during that time period. But yeah, I ran track. But yeah, it's after that, and then we have work service hours that you got to do too. So depending on how you align that, you could either do it during the summer or do it during the school year.
Right.
But yeah, the homework was like you was gonna have homework. There was no getting out of it. They expected you to do your homework, expect you to do readings, come to class prepared to talk about it. And I mean, that wasn't just like the transition freshman year. That was all the way through. I remember
Yeah.
Mr. Casey's class, my senior year. I had it like we had trimesters in. I think they moved to semesters now, but in my last trimester of senior year, we had him for English, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna chill because like we getting ready to graduate. Nah, he had us reading Shakespeare and coming to class, writing book reports and talking about it and like reading the book in class. And I'm like, man, so it was a different kind of set of expectations, but I think the whole point of it was to help you get ready for the rigors of college, right? Where professors there don't necessarily care whether or not you get your grades in, your test in, and whatnot. They getting paid either way, but I think D really helped prepare me for like what college would look like. But yeah, it was the expectation was to do your work, and if you didn't, you were probably gonna get embarrassed in class because other people did their work. So
For sure. For sure. It's one person I know, like in my class, that didn't graduate because he did. Because they always say, like, if you don't pass English your senior year, you're not gonna graduate. He did not pass. I was like, yeah, and that's why. Quick story. I had what's the guy, the black English teacher,
Dr. K, Dr. K,
Dr. K. I had Dr.
yeah,
K. Right. He put that syllabus down my senior year. Well, I'm about to look around. I said, I went straight to the office. I said, please put me back in Miss Desmond class because Miss Desmond was on her way out and she loved me. So I'm like, I know I'm finna kick it. So yeah, I was like, yeah. So, I had to swindle some things at DeLaSalle, man. I'm like, I can't go. I'm trying to get to college. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. Hey, so your freshman year, or you on the freshman team? And who was your coach? Who was your coach?
Yeah, so we had Coach Ray Holden, rest in peace to Coach Holden, but he was an older gentleman. He had us freshman year. I think we had 4 plays. Toss left, toss right, Sally ran left, Sally ran right, and then we had a play where we just threw it to Cam. Like Cam run and get open and we're gonna throw the ball. But yeah, we had Coach Holden freshman year, but we didn't I don't know how people know if people know or not, but D is small. Like we had maybe 600-700 students at the time. So
Yeah,
we didn't have like a freshman, a JV, and a varsity. We had a freshman and a varsity, but our freshman team played JV teams.
JV.
Yeah. Um, and so Coach Holton was our coach, and we played other JV teams, just kind of around, in the Tri Metro Conference. So Minnehaha, Blake, Breck, um, St. Paul Academy. I think it was St. Agnes as well. So played a bunch of them schools. But yeah, Coach Holton was our coach at the time. So
Did y'all go undefeated or anything? I'm sure y'all did.
yeah, if we didn't go undefeated, I think we may have lost one game.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we went undefeated. It wasn't, we were playing JV teams, and I think our toughest test was Blake at the time. They had Isaiah and Isaac um, over there, but yeah, there wasn't I mean, just athletically, a lot of us were like had surpassed some of the JV people that we were playing. In all honesty, so
Sure.
and then just the continuity of having played with each other for all those years, I think made a big difference as well. So.
Well, you said Cam was on your team. Was Jamar on the
Yeah.
team as well?
Jamar probably would have been.
But he didn't play,
I'm
right?
trying to think. I don't remember Jamar until like later on in football time frames. Our more so like our sophomore and junior years of Jamar really playing, but he was probably on that team too. Him, Quentin Liggins, Cyrus. Xavier. Yeah, we had a squad, man. We were stacked.
Wait, so Xavier was there freshman year?
Yeah, he was there freshman year too. Yeah, he didn't leave till his sophomore year. So we had a
Mm.
squad. Wayne was there. I can't remember if Wayne hooped or if he actually played football as well. But we had a squad.
So Xavier Rucker was at DeLaSalle. I thought he was
Yeah.
at Breck. Why did he leave?
Nah. I don't know. But yeah, he was there freshman year, all freshman year. Him,
Dang, y'all
Emerald.
had a whip.
Yeah, yeah, we had a squad. Cam, Quinn Liggins, rest in
Yep.
peace. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had a squad. We had a squad. So
Dang, that's wow. See,
yeah,
yeah. See, that's and people. I know you've seen. I've said that multiple times on my, on the other previous episodes. If our class was stuck together, like, because people don't, we get the dudes, and they
yeah,
be like, oh, De La Salle recruit. No, we actually really want to go to De La Salle.
yeah,
That's just the thing. We want to go. Like, so yeah. So when did you start playing varsity, getting like meaningful minutes on varsity? Was it your sophomore
yeah,
year?
yeah. My sophomore year, and what's crazy about that is we scrimmaged varsity. Freshman you don't have playoffs or anything, right?
Mhm.
So varsity was getting ready for the playoffs, and we had to scrimmage them. And I remember I housed the kick return,
That's
and
crazy.
yeah, versus the varsity in practice. They're like, yeah, it ain't that easy in the game. It's not sweet, blah, blah, blah. Line it up again. And I'm like, so now y'all gonna try to tee off on me because I already housed one. But
Right.
my sophomore year, like late in my sophomore year, is when I really started to get meaningful minutes. Probably about the homecoming time frame. I'll say that to say that like the freshman story is man, I always felt like I could contribute to the team, right? And so early in my sophomore year, I wasn't starting or anything. They had some seniors there, right? Like, so RJ Jackson, I think it was Jake Green, or I know his last name started with the V, so might be butchering the pronunciation, but so they were starting in the backfield, and I was behind like Lavelle and Josh Cruz. I was like, man, yeah, rest in peace, Lavelle. But I was like, man, I feel like I can be starting and like contributing. And so we played Breck our first game, and I had, late minutes. So I got in. It was either my first or second touch. I house one. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh yeah, I told y'all I can do this. And they still, Breck was a small school. They were smaller than us. And so they still had their starters in. I'm like, I told y'all I can do this. I feel like I can do this. And so just throughout the season, as I kept like, it wasn't just a one-off thing, and they saw that I could keep doing it, I started to get more minutes. So like midway through, late in my sophomore year is when I really started playing like meaningful minutes on the squad. So
And how did y'all do that year?
we were, I think we lost that Brett game, may have lost another game during the season, but we went to almost, it was either section finals or the game right before the section finals. So we lost to St. Anthony
Okay.
in one of the craziest games I've ever played. And I feel like we played all 4 seasons. It snowed, it rained, it was sunny for a bit. Like it was just a crazy, and they had like a passing offense, and they had me shadowing their best receiver. It was like, like, hey, just go. Like I said, normally I was one of, if not the fastest on the team. So it's like, yo, just shadow him. Like you just follow him everywhere he go. But we ended up losing to them for our last game. So maybe two or three, maybe two losses that season. Three max, but two. I don't think I lost more than five my entire like college or high school career. I don't think I lost more than five. So
Yeah. I mean, I only lost two. I know
yeah.
how I know it is. So hey, okay, cool. So um, and who was Quinn the quarterback at the time, or was he backup?
No, so he was maybe the second or third string at that, but probably third string, but maybe second string. Corey Hansen was the starting quarterback at that time. So until our senior year, really, Corey was starting. And then Quentin took over our senior year when the offense changed a bit. But yeah, so it was Corey, and then Quentin. So
And Corey ended up going to Northern Illinois, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
East, huh?
yeah, yeah.
Wasn't he like Gatorade Player of the Year or something
I,
crazy
I
like
don't
that?
know. Maybe his junior year. I can't remember. Man, he was up there though. He was highly recruited from D. He was probably one of the ones in my kind of wave of things that was more highly recruited than anybody else.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right, cool. And you said that was the last year you hooped. So was you on JV or
yeah. I played JV sophomore year, and I realized I stopped growing, and it was a wrap after that. I was like, you know what? I ain't got no future in this. I'm gonna go ahead and focus on football and running track. But I also won state track my sophomore year, and so it was like, all right, well, I'm straight in one of these. So
you won state in what, the 100?
200. I ran the 200.
200?
200 was my run. Yeah, 200
You
was
know,
my
that was
run.
my joint.
Huh?
That's what I went to stay
Yeah.
for. 200.
Yeah, the 200 was my run. Like I could run the 100, but it was dudes at the time running like 10 somethings. And I think at that point I maybe had ran a 10.9, if that. But I was a sophomore, right? Like I wasn't lifting or anything, so I still hadn't like developed into my body. But I had a long stride, so I anchored our 4x2 sophomore year. We got silver in the 4x2 and 4x1, and I ended up winning the 200, the open 200, my sophomore year. But yeah, that track was, I thought, I ain't grow. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna focus on football and track. Basketball's done for me. I ain't got it. So
Yeah. If you don't make varsity as a sophomore, it's over with. Like to
yeah.
me, I'm like at DeLaSalle, they got a system. If you
Hmm.
ain't part of that system early, it's over with. Yeah,
You done. You
you're done.
done. Yeah. You can hold some Gatorade, pass the waters down,
Be
wave your
the manager.
flag, get the clap started, but you ain't doing much else.
Yep. I would tell people you can either be a manager or a fan. I chose to be a fan. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? See
Yep.
my homies saying, all right, man. So yeah, dang, when did stay as a sophomore? What
Yeah.
man, dang. So okay, let's talk a little bit about that just briefly. 1A, right? Class 1A for track.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But
We was one A.
did you guys ever run against like some of the bigger schools like in Burnsville and like Parr Lake and nothing like that?
No, not unless it was like an open meet with some of the other like schools. But for the most part, no. Man, they had too many schools in that because in track there was only the two divisions, 1A and 2A, and so you had to take all these schools for like football. We had up to 5A. I think they're 6A now, but like 5A for different class sizes. They didn't have that in track, so we had other people that we had to run against and stuff. But I don't remember. There was a dude named John Boyd. He was out of like Mankato East. He could fly. He could fly, man. He was like a sophomore running like 10.5, 10.4.
Oh,
Yeah, he could run, man. But no, we never raced some of the larger schools or anything. I did race them during like the summer, AAU, hospitality house, that type of stuff. No, never in high school, like in the high school year.
man, I'm so mad, man. I didn't find out about AAU track until after I graduated. I was
Really?
like, yeah, dude. I told my grandma, I'm like, I literally live 5 or 6 blocks away from the hospitality house. I'm
Yeah.
like, she used to tell me like my dad ran for the hospitality house. I'm like, why didn't you put me in the hospitality house when I was younger? I said I would have never played football in college.
Mm. Yeah. Ran
Cause,
track.
'cause naturally I was better at track, but I
Yeah.
loved football.
Yeah.
That's how we are, man. Like I'm sure the
Yeah.
same way. Like it was easy for you. Track was easy for you.
Yeah.
Football was challenging. It was fun, and it was like that's what I want to do. But man, I always tell people like, man, if I would have started earlier, I would have just ran track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And track. Summer track takes you a lot of places. That's why I got a lot of traveling and like my eyes open. You go, Nebraska, Omaha, you go to Milwaukee. We had track nationals in Oregon. Like we ran
Mhm.
on a pre-contained track. So it opened up a lot of, we went to Miami for nationals. Like it opened up a lot of in my eyes. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm hating for real. All right,
Get your
man. Oh man, my wife ran track all state. I was all state
yeah.
track. My daughter, she and my son's a beast, so we're gonna see. I'm trying to get him to play football. My wife ain't going, but he playing. But
Yeah.
so junior year, man, that's when you started really doing your thing.
Yeah.
You was the man, right? Talk about that team. Like, who was on the team at that time? What was your
Yeah.
record? And like, how was that? How was your junior year?
Yeah, junior year was special. I think we were 10-1 that year. We only lost the game in the section championship to Delano. Now they whooped us in the second championship, but like that was our only loss of the season. So you had Corey at quarterback. We had Quentin Moore, it's like a tight end. Josh, Lavelle, myself, Cyrus, Cam, Jamar was on that team. I know I'm gonna leave some people out. No disrespect to anybody that I forget. Sean Evans was on that team, but we had a great team, and you had come up together, right? So you think that '05 class that was ahead of me, they had played all their years together, and then we had gotten the same system, played all the years together. So it was special. We pretty much ran through everybody. I don't know if maybe one or two games I played past halftime, the third quarter, but mostly we was done by. halftime. Even the teams that were supposed to be like our rivals, Minnehaha and Blake, and we played Breck the first game of the season on TV. We blew them out. They just came off a championship, man. We whooped them. I think we like 3-score win or something like that.
Mm.
It was something crazy. So we ran the table with people that year, and it was just special to see the way the team came together. And was able to like actually rooting for each other, even when backups would get in. It was like we rooting on the sideline. You see people celebrating on the sideline and things. So it was just a very tight group, and the coaching staff I think knew what they had, knew how to put people in positions to succeed. It really challenged us and forced us to grow that year. So that was a special year. And then even for myself personally, like I didn't have any offers or anything during the season, but I vividly remember that's the first year that Bryce really was like, man, if you want to play in college, you got to start separating yourself. Coach Bryce, and he was like, man, so you're gonna practice, and then after practice, you're gonna come back and you're gonna lift, or you're gonna get X amount of pull-ups. And they'd be like, you struggling to get it. He's like, how bad do you want it? You gotta get one more if you want to go play
Mm.
D1. And like he really started pushing me at that point of like, hey, my boy D Rob's down in Iowa. I got the workout program. I'm gonna put you on. You're gonna lift after practice. And I appreciated that somebody be like, all right, if you want to go to the next level, this is what it kind of take, and like you need to start doing it.
Yeah, let's keep talking about Coach Bryce.
Yeah,
Coach Bryce is that dude, man. Like I had him my freshman year, and like his workouts were crazy. So when you said doing the pull ups, did he swing
yeah.
on you while you was doing the pull ups?
He hit you, yeah,
He
yeah.
used to swing on us when we was doing the pull ups, man. Shout out to Coach Bryce. I ain't trying to get you in trouble, but back then that was cool because like we had to be mentally tough. We can't
Yeah,
get away with that now, but like back then, like his tactics, it wasn't to put us down. It was to uplift us. Like I remember, for example, I ran like a 60-yard touchdown. When you see
yeah,
that coach, he flicked me off. Like you supposed
yeah,
to do that. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like nothing. Even though I know he was happy for me and like all that, like, but he expect that greatness. Like you supposed to do that. So
yeah,
like Coach Bryce, man, like yeah, just talk a little bit more about your experience with Coach Bryce. I'm glad
yeah,
that you said that because like I swear, like we all love Coach Bryce, Coach Grant as well. Cause like
yeah.
I'm like he really like they saw the potential in us when we didn't see it in ourselves, and they really got it up out of us.
Yeah, especially Coach Grant, because that was my running back coach, right? And so he would take me day to day. I was with him, really like honing skills and like, hey man, when you do this, make sure you full speed here and this and that. But Bryce, I think that junior year, and what I think he really started to do with a lot of people is he started to challenge you mentally. It wasn't so much the physical, but he started to get you mentally prepared. And in high school, when you're better than people, like you're more athletic, you can kind of take your foot off the gas and ease up and like I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to try as hard because I know I'm just better than people, right?
Right.
Or athletically better than people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll never forget him. We went to play a team in Wisconsin. He was like, if you want to play in college and you break away, ain't no slowing down before you hit the end zone. He's like, you need to create space on film, show you running away from people. So every time you touch the rock, think I'm taking it to the house and I'm pulling away from people. So he was really, my junior year especially, he really started to challenge me mentally to like keep your foot on the gas. How good do you want to be? How great do you want to be? And how bad do you want to be great? And like, well, if you do, here are some of the things that I know that you need to do to be great, or the people that have come before you that have done to be great, to go play. Like, this is what you need to do. So I appreciated him being willing to do that, like mental challenge for people, especially myself, that my junior year, starting my junior year.
Right. Right. Nah. Yeah. Man, love Coach Bryce. So
Yeah.
after that, so you ran track that year as well.
Yeah, and I ended up tearing my hamstring. So crazy story. So Nike camps are everywhere nowadays, but like back then they were like coveted. So me and Xavier went to a regional one in Manhattan. And that's when I first got on college's radars because I tested pretty well at the camp or whatever in one-on-ones. That's when Iowa State's coach first saw me. And so I went to the Nike camp. He saw me there. He's like, I want to stay in touch. Want to see, give me your film, boom, boom, boom. They came to watch me run track. I ran like the 200. They're like, all right, cool. We seen what we need to see. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to leave. I'm running a 4x1 and tearing my hamstring. It's like, oh man. So I don't know what. So I ended up not finishing the track season then because I want to get ready for football season again and just be healthy for my senior year. So I ain't go back to state after that. I had hamstring problems from then on, in all honesty. But
Mm,
but it was also I hadn't started lifting until my junior year. So after football season, my junior year is when I started lifting. And you in there early, like you don't necessarily have the best form. It's about weight and getting weight up and like
Right. Right.
how much can you squat, how much can you bench press. It wasn't like technique type things, and so that probably played a role in it, in me just like probably being over dominant in my quads and not working like hamstrings, glutes, that type of thing. But um, yeah, so after my junior year, I didn't run track really much after that again.
Oh, tragic, man.
Yeah,
Whew.
I know. I know.
Man, no, that's funny. My senior year, I don't want to say I tore it, but I pulled my hamstring really, really bad, and
Yeah,
I missed majority of the season. And this is
yeah,
coming back. This is coming from a all state year where I was placed in the 200. We dropped the
yeah.
baton in the 4x1. Obviously, we were supposed to
Uh,
win. Me, Donzel, Van Leer, Jalen
uh,
dropped the baton. Yeah. So like,
man.
and then my senior year, yeah, it was supposed to be a repeat. We just we just won our heat for the 4x1. Had the best time. We were the shoe in winners. Like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I go to run my 200. It's dumb. It's dumb cold. You know.
Y'all was at Hamlin them
No,
years?
actually, it was super hot that day. Yeah, it was at Hamlin.
Okay.
Pulled my joint right, coming like probably like 45 meters left.
Oh man.
I finished the race.
Yeah.
But after that, I was done. Like, Walter was my replacement. We ended up winning. So
Okay.
that was cool. So I still feel
Yeah.
like I won, but, I didn't get no
Yeah.
run. Yeah, that's, man, funny stories, funny stories.
Yeah.
That's funny that you said that. That's crazy. That's kind of weird, though, because the hamstring, that's fast people, that's the thing. People don't know,
Yeah.
like, because you're running and you're just, then pop. If you're not doing
Yeah.
the proper stretching, like you said, lifting, taking care of your body, eating right. I don't want
Yeah.
nobody eating right in high school, man.
Nah.
Like, so, like,
Eating the sugar cookies, the
like
fries.
eating candy before the race. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah.
it,
Junior year, we get that over with. Senior year comes.
yeah.
You lost your mind.
Yeah. Things changed. I had a little bit more motivation. I had one offer at the time going in, after my junior year, Wyoming offered me. And I'll tell you my quick story about taking an official visit out there. I felt obligated a bit you only have five. I don't know how many they get now, but you only had five back then. They were
Right.
the first school to offer me, so I felt like kind of obligated to go take a visit. Man, I get off the plane in Laramie, small airport. I walk down like we don't. There's no like you go into the gate area and you walk through the airport. No, it's small. You get off the plane, you go down the steps, and you got to walk to this small building. Man, I get off the plane. I don't know if you ever seen Five O Goes West, but they had one of them like tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
Man, that flew across me in the airport field. I said, "Put me back on the plane. I'm not coming." I don't know what that is. I said, "Nah, nope." I said, "I'm from the city. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Put me back on the plane. I appreciate it, but no, get me out of here."
You in
But
that Wild West.
yeah, literally, I had never seen one of those before, and I was like, "Man, I don't know what that is. Get me out of here." But their university was beautiful. Weight room was gorgeous. Like they really gave me a first class experience. But ain't no way I wouldn't. No, hell no. Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to cuss,
But
but
no,
no.
you good. No, you good. Was the field view dope? Because I'll be playing the
Yeah.
game. I'm like, that field view is dope.
Yeah, mountains in the background. It was just gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. First class facilities. When I went there, when I got to Iowa State, Wyoming had better like workout facilities than Iowa State did at the time. So it was hands down. It was a gorgeous campus, everything. But I just nah,
Yeah.
I ain't nah,
You weren't going to no
ain't,
Wyoming.
no, in the middle of nowhere out
Oh
west.
yeah.
Nah, I'm sorry, man. Nah, it ain't for me.
Were they in the Mountain West at the time?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, because they,
Okay.
you know who they played like pretty religiously too though? Texas,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
I don't know how, but they played Texas like either every year, every other year, but they played Texas pretty often. But so that I had that one offer, and so I had a little bit of motivation going into my senior year and then I had went to the U for like a junior day. You know how they do, and they told me they didn't think I was good enough running back, and I'm like, I don't think like what I can do because of the offense that I play. We played in the wing T, right?
Right.
And so it's a little bit different. It's options. So a lot of time I was getting the ball, people had already like converged and read a dive for the fullback, and I had got a pitch and I was outside already. So they're like, we don't think you're a good enough running back. And so my senior year, our Coach Kyles had left. I got Coach Weinberger that came in my senior year. He put us in the I. And it just I think it just showed what else I was able to do from like a running back. I played in the I at Pal, so it wasn't like I wasn't used to it.
Right.
or single back at PAL. And so, like, I was just able to show a lot more of what I was able to do. And what's crazy enough is we didn't have a toss play in when we started the year. Like, no, it was dives and counters, and we didn't have a reverse or nothing. So we had to, like, talk to Weinberger, like, bro, get a toss in here. Like,
Ron
when we,
Ron plays too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Counter left, counter right, dive left, dive right, fullback, dive, whoop, whoop.
fullback
And that
track.
was it. Yeah. And he had like one like scissors route that the receivers run and like a hook in the corner, like a smash concept, like a hitch in the corner behind it. Like that was it. We had to put in some stuff. Like we put in a toss, finally put in the reverse back to Jeremy out of the toss itself. Like, so we put in a couple of different things throughout the course of the season, but um, yeah, man, I just had a lot of motivation. Like, I wanted to show that one, like I was good enough back to play D1, and two, one of my biggest regrets from high school is not winning a state like a team championship, right? Like I wanted a team championship, whether it's like a 4x1 or relay, or but a football championship was what I really wanted because D hadn't had one since '99. It hasn't had one since '99, so I
Right.
wanted that, and I think we had the team to do it the way we were starting to mesh and things. Yeah, man, it was just a crazy season, man. I think I had a stretch of 3 games where I was like over 1,000 yards,
Yeah.
like in those 3 games alone. And then I think you got to the playoffs. I think I was averaging like 200 in the playoffs.
Yeah,
It was
you went you went crazy. Don't go too hard because the one game you have 464 yards and like 5 scores against Columbia Heights. Was that the
yeah.
playoff regular season? And
No,
at
that
the
was
time,
the season.
there were 4A, right?
Yes, they was up a level from
Yeah,
us.
and at the time that was a state record. So you were a state record holder for some years.
Yeah, yeah,
How was that? Like I was reading the article and it said you had like runs of like 60, 70, 80. Like you was like just they couldn't stop you. And you had like
yeah.
30
No.
carries. Like they just was feeding you, huh?
Yeah, what's crazy about it is it was such a close game. We didn't win that game until like the last 2 minutes. I broke one in the last 2 minutes that was like 50, 60 yards on a fourth and like one, fourth and inches. I broke it, and that's what sealed the game and like put me over the record. But I didn't know it in the course of the game. That's one of the few games I've played all the way through
Mhm.
because it was so close, like back and forth. We was playing up, but I think just going into that game, it was like, you know, you just had a lot, I just felt like there was a lot to prove. Everybody were like, they're a 4A school. People don't think we can play these type of schools, and like we're supposed to get beat. And like, no, y'all got to prove it. Like just because y'all upper class don't mean y'all better than us. And we
Right.
come in here to let y'all know, like we can play too. Y'all not as good as us. And yeah, I think that was just that game was so close, so intense. I didn't realize that I had a record or anything. It felt like a 200-yard game. Um, but it was just so like such an intense game, back and forth, back and forth. But yeah, I just kept getting carries and kept breaking. And it's crazy because it wasn't like I seen one of your highlights that you played on here where you cut back across the field. It was a bunch of them, right? Like
Yeah.
so I would get a toss and everybody would start over pursuing and I would see it land and I would just take it. Like and then once
Oh,
you get on the edge, wasn't too many people gonna catch you. But I was also, like I said, I was strong too, right? And so there's a couple of clips from there where it's like me running over cats and like there was one I remember in the open field and still got the highlight hit film here, but like open field, I could have just shook a dude and I was like, I'm gonna send a message. I ran straight through dude, just like singled out, then slow down, sped up, and just ran like right through him. So it was just a real fun game, but man, kudos to them. They were eating me up on some comebacks on defense. Like they got me a couple times with some comeback routes, and I was more mad about that than anything. And yeah, I woke up the next morning. My dad threw the paper on my bed. I'm like, "What's this?" And like I read it, and I'm like, "What? Like this from last night?" And my dad never came to games. He had brought a friend to that game. Like that's the first time maybe my career that he had been to a game. And so he had brought a friend to the game, so him and his friend were there. Threw the paper at and I'm like reading it, like, nah, this ain't right. And then the
right.
coach Weinberger called me, like, hey, I know what they put, but like we had you at a different mark, so we may have to go back and review. I was like, bro, I don't care, man. We won. So, but yeah, that's how it happened, and they reviewed it after a while, and it was like an open stands and whoop whoop whoop. So, but yeah, that was a crazy game, man. Crazy.
That was tough. That's tough though, man. That's tough. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's gone now though.
Yeah,
Definitely.
some dude
Yeah.
from who won like they won like 3 or 4 straight chips. He chased it though, in all honesty. He was looking to get he had done everything else. Mr. Owatonna, is it Owatonna? I think it's like
Uh,
Owatonna or somewhere.
yeah.
He went to the U to play for a little bit. I don't think he finished there, but yeah, big dude. He's like 6'2", 6'3".
Nah.
Yeah, but yeah, he broke it like his senior year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So even like so, think about your scene. Oh, talk about the coaching change. So you got Weinberger, right? Come in with
Yeah.
that mention. Was Coach Ashfield there at the time?
Yep. He was a DB coach or defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach
Yeah.
Ashfield.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. So like, how was that? Like, you have because that happened my senior year too. You have a coach for
Mm,
this amount of years, got the system. Whether you like the coach or not, like you familiar with him. Then you get a
yeah.
whole new coach. But it looked like it worked out in your favor though.
Yeah, I think it worked out in all of our favors because it kind of took some of the constraints away of what we were doing, like the wing T, where you could key on like the fullback and to like have somebody scrape for the running back. Now you had to guard everybody. We had Cam and Jamar going off, like we were throwing the ball more as well. Cyrus as a fullback too. Quentin had a couple where he would pull down and just run. So it was like you had to guard the whole field because you couldn't just key on one single person. And I think that's what made us so dangerous. We had Jeremy in the slot. We used him a lot for like reverses and stuff because he was quick. And so it was like, yeah, as a sophomore. And it was like we had some guys in there that we could just play, right? Like, and once we started to get a feel for the system and what our skills were, and the coaches got a feel for it, like we really took off. Like towards the end of the season, we was putting up basketball numbers, 50, 60, 70 points on
Yeah.
teams. And it was just like we kind of figured things out at that point. So, but it's tough, man. You come in and learn. I look back on it now and it wasn't that tough because I had 3 different coaches in college, right? Like, so I had 3 different offenses, 3 different running back coaches, 3 different strength coaches. So, it's tough though in high school, but I think your senior year, you don't really think about that. You're like, man, I'm trying to get out of here with a chip. Yeah.
Right. So even that senior year, you run right back up on Delano. And what's
Yeah.
the dude's name? Was it Dominique Claire?
There. Yeah.
Oh my God. So that game, I came to that game. It was out in Delano.
Yep.
Right. The first football game I saw. And I saw you and you had them big dumb pads on. Them
Like,
big, yeah, big stupid thigh pads. I'm looking like, is he that big or is he like? So yeah. So I remember that game though. You still went crazy. You had like
yeah.
237 yards. And it was a tight game. They ended up winning at the last second. Like I was there. Um, but I barely remember like you were cramping up the whole game. Like and
Yeah.
I like you would do something and then boom, I'll be looking like I was like, man, what's wrong with this dude? But you was
Yeah.
still killing.
Yeah, I had a big problem with cramps in high school. Even our first game of the year, I was cramping, and I tried everything: bananas, pickle juice. I wish somebody would put me on Pedialyte earlier, but yeah, it was hard, man. You get because once you start cramping, unless you get an IV or something, you're not coming back from that. Like you can still go
Exactly.
back in and play, but you're not going to be as effective as you would if you wasn't cramping. But yeah, I started struggling like in the fourth quarter because we went into the fourth quarter and we was up like 16, 15, or like we was
Hmm.
up going into the fourth. And then they ended up pulling out in the fourth, but like that was still it was a battle in that game too. So man, I remember just crying after that game. Like, man, this ain't how it's supposed to end. And we was a little shorthanded. Quentin broke his leg.
Jamar and
Um,
Cam were sitting on the sideline because basketball
yeah,
season was about to
yeah,
start.
Jamar broke his arm in the game before. Cam
Yep.
like had a thumb thing, and so it was like me and Cyrus, and it was like, all right, man, we gotta get this thing done. Because I know you play safety, and I don't know, we probably getting close to your time or not. Damn, I ain't think we ain't even got to college yet.
No, we good. No, we got time. We
Oh,
got
okay. I was about to say,
no,
I
we got
remember
time
that game. It's that's the first game I played safety. And I was like, man, I should have played back here all season
all
because
season.
you could see everything. And I
Every
was just coming down. And that was the first time we really watched film. So Cyrus and I got together like on a weekend and we watched film. It was like, can we pick out any tendencies or anything that they give away to try to, come into this game and give ourselves a real chance. And I just remember there was one play they always ran this screen out of. And I saw it when they lined up. And I just turned to Cyrus and was like, watch this. Here come the screen. And I just, as soon as they snapped it, I streamed downhill. The back came across, kind of like a counter. You know how you cross read in
Yeah.
the shotgun. So he came across my way, and I just streamed downhill, and I got to him at the same time as the ball, and I probably could have picked it off, but I wanted to send a message, so I
Right.
just smacked him. It's like- I was like, but I like safety because you could see everything
Yeah.
develop, and you could just read and come down. Yeah, and I was like, man, I should have played here all my career because this is nice. But
Yeah. So I ended up taking an L that game.
yeah,
That
rough.
was bad, man, because I was there, and I mean, that was another reason I'm like, yeah, I'm coming here. Like,
Yeah,
if this is football, like, because that was a
yeah,
great game. Like,
yeah,
it was literally down to the wire. I
yeah,
remember, like, a Delano dude, like, I don't know if he got a pick and, like, went back and, like, got a safety or something crazy because he, like, tried to kneel down or something crazy. Gave
yeah.
y'all points. I was like, man, he's an idiot. But I was like, that's good for us. So, yeah, but anywho, yeah, that game was dope. Like I said, that's the first time I got the chance to see you. That's the first
Mhm.
time I got to see Jeremy, too. I seen Jeremy. I'm looking like, dang, Jeremy got them
Dude's
big
big
jump
as a
pads.
stomach too.
Man, yeah, y'all
Yeah,
had a squad, though. Man, so, yeah. So moving forward, so now it's time to make a decision for college.
yeah.
What were your options at that time?
Man,
Obviously, your senior year.
yeah, I ended up getting some offers during my senior year. So when I broke the state record, the U started getting questions like, "Hold on, why didn't this guy got an offer from Minnesota?" So they offered me, but they were like, "We want you to play cornerback." But it was like it's too late now. The relationship there, and they had a history of not recruiting Minnesota guys, right? Like they would not. All the top recruits in Minnesota left because the U just didn't recruit them. But so I had Iowa State, Wyoming, the U of M, Ball State, and Kentucky, and
Kentucky.
NDSU. Yeah, NDSU too. So I wanted to take a visit to Kentucky, and they wanted me to come in with one of their like top recruits from the in-state, and they kept rescheduling it. And I'm like, I want to have my decision done before I start like the latter half of my year. And like I just want to have a decision done by Christmas so I could just focus on school and getting ready to come play. And they kept moving it, kept moving it, kept moving it. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not gonna commit without seeing the university. And so it's like Iowa State told me that they were recruiting three backs. One of us was gonna have to play as a true freshman just based on numbers. And I was like, I want an opportunity to go do that. It was Big 12, so I knew I was gonna play good schools. It was away from home, but it wasn't too far away where I couldn't get back if I needed to.
Right.
Um, and so their coach was high on me. I'll never forget. Like he told me, he was like, when I first watched your film, I wasn't impressed. I was like, that's cool. And he was like, but the more I watched it, the more the little stuff started picking up. Like I started picking up on little like traits that you have that I like. He was like, you run behind your pads, you high and tight, like you never get hit backwards, and those are hidden yards. He's like, you falling forward every time you get tackled, and that's an extra yard, 2 yards that you're getting. And like he broke some things down to me that I appreciated, and so he was high on me. So I just wanted my decision done by Christmas, man, and that's really what it came down to. I really wanted to go to Kentucky, but I was like, I'm not committing without. I was like, SEC, I get to go to Florida. I got fam in Florida. Like, I can go see them. I'm playing Ole Miss,
I know.
like Bama, Auburn. Like, I'm like, we're going to play all the best school. At the time, it was Florida because Tim Tebow was there, Percy Harvin. I'm like, so we gonna get to play there in the swamp in SEC. I was like, that's what I want. But the other thing was they didn't know where they wanted me to play. They were like, we're gonna recruit you as an athlete and then we'll just figure it out. Like whether that's receiver, DB, running back, like we're gonna have you as an athlete. But yeah, man. So I just wanted my decision done. And that's really why I landed on Iowa State. The opportunity to play early, to be able to prove that I deserve to play at the D1 level. But it was appealing to me. So
So when you got there, did you play your freshman year?
no, hamstring again. Hamstring in camp. And so there was another back from Oklahoma that ended up playing as a true freshman. And so I sat in redshirted, but it was good for me, in all honesty, to not burn a year, right? It gave me a chance to lift, get a little bit stronger, learn the ins and outs of college football, what it takes to, balance school with practice. Because people don't know, like, they'd be like, oh, it's athletes and they get all this and all that. It's a full-time job, especially when you redshirt. Like you up in the mornings working out, you got to go to class, you got to do everything that everybody else doing, and you're not playing on Saturdays, and that's rough. Especially because you come from being the man in high school, and now
Yep.
you're doing everything and you're not playing. I struggled my spring semester, and I got a new coach, but like to answer your question, yeah, I redshirted and because I got hurt in camp. But it was good. I learned the business side of it too. My coach walked past me in the hall, didn't say a word to me. And I'm like, It's like, bro, you're not playing. You ain't no use to me. Like,
Dang.
but so I learned the business side early. And I
Right.
was like, okay. But another coach later on broke it down to me. He's like, yo, this is how I feed my family. This is how I feed my family.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, we kids, man. Like,
He ain't think about that. So
yeah.
your sophomore year, that's when you started getting some burn. Well, it's your
Yeah.
true
My
freshman,
redshirt freshman year.
freshman year. Yeah,
And like a lot of people know, I started that first game. Like when I was
yeah.
eligible, I started that first game versus Kent State. Took a hit. Man, I got spun around, took a hit in the back, and re-aggravated like an injury from camp, like a hip pointer. And so ended up sitting till like the last 4 games of the season. I had some seniors and some juniors that were ahead of me. And so I sat that sat until the last 4 games of the season. And so, but it helped me, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. That was a blessing to be able to watch them, how they hit holes, how they read stuff, and
Hmm.
just to, again, brand new coach, what the coaches wanted, didn't want. And so that was a blessing in disguise to be able to watch those guys for the next like 6 games or whatever until I started playing again.
Right, because you get the like when I injured myself and I had to sit out for like 5 games. Even in practice, you see the game in a whole different realm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Then when you get out there, it's easier for you because you can catch it. Like, okay, oh, he's coming. Oh, there the corner's dropping down, or the receiver doing this. Then
yeah,
you watch film, so now you know, like, okay, the tendencies and all that. So like, it is a blessing. Like, as bad as you want to play, it's a blessing to get that like first eye view right there. So
yeah.
yeah, that's dope. So any games while you wasn't playing that you see any dudes that from your opponents, like any schools, you was like, man, this dude dog. Like I'm sure you did because you playing in the Big
Yeah,
12, playing
yeah,
Texas and all type of bugs up in there, Oklahoma.
yeah.
All
I don't know if y'all remember the name Sergio Kendall. He played for Texas. He was like a D lineman, linebacker, hybrid type dude. He was like 6'2", 240, ran like a 4.4. Man, I saw him chase down our back across the field and smack him out of bounds. I said, ain't no way I would have survived that. But I was 160 at the time. I said, ain't no way. He would have knocked me out for the year. Man, we played some dogs. I'm not gonna lie to you. We played Texas. I'll just give you some names: Chase Daniels,
Mhm.
Jeremy Macklin, Blaine Gabbert, Ez Bryant, Justin Blackman, DeMarco Murray, Moses Madu, Adrian Peterson. Like we played some dogs. Von Miller.
Dang.
Uh, who else was in that?
Did you
Nebraska.
did, did
But
you play when A was playing
he was there. He actually broke his collarbone
uh,
versus us my freshman year and got
freshman year?
redshirted
Yep.
versus us in our game. He like
Yep.
dove over a dude into the end
And
zone and broke his
scored.
collarbone.
Yep. I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
So I wasn't there at the game because it was an away game, but so I did get to like watch the film and stuff on him. But man, we played some dogs in that conference. I'm not gonna lie to you. We played some teams that was loaded, man. Colt McCoy. Yeah, we played some Justin Shipley, his receiver. Yeah, we played some dogs in that conference, man.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, it sounded like you made the right decision.
Yeah,
So I know your junior year. That's when you really went crazy. I think you
yeah,
didn't you rush for like almost 1,200 yards that year.
yep,
Yep.
yep,
So
and
talk,
hurt too.
you
Like
was hurt.
I
Okay.
hurt my groin in like the fourth game of the season versus Army. It's an injury I still don't think I've ever healed from it, but you know how it be when you get to college. Like the trainer job, no disrespect to the trainers, but it's like it's to get you back to play. It's not to make sure you heal for the longevity. It's to get you back on the field and playing. But like I like popped my groin and
Mm-hmm.
like you know how your legs swell up and like trainers can move fluid out. So it was like a hard fluid. So they would move it and it would just come right back. And it was like I played almost the whole year with that. They ordered like a special device where I couldn't like open my leg a certain way, but I had to put that under my pants. And so, but yeah, it was about 1,200 that year. And it was just a brand new offense. So I had Tom Herman was my offensive coordinator. He came from Rice, like the spread offense. So again, that was my third coach, third new system. But it just fit me real well because I was able to like it wasn't necessarily the eye where you had to have a hole open or anything. It was more zone read and like I could pick and choose where I could go. So that was that was a really good year, man. I think as we look back, we counted. I played 95% of the snaps that year.
Dang.
which is insane. Because in the
Crazy.
spread, no huddle, like, you could run up 100 snaps a game.
Mhm.
And so it was like, yeah, man, that's a crazy amount. I missed one game because of the injury. Other than that, I played 95% of the snaps.
Do y'all have a 12-game season? Or is it
Yeah,
13?
in the
12?
conference, it was 12 game season. And if you made like a bowl game, it's 13. Or if you played in your conference championship, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you was down there averaging 100 yards a game. That's crazy for the Big
yeah,
12. People
yeah,
think, oh, that's not a lot of yards. That's a lot of yards, man. Like when you really think about it, that's a
yeah.
lot of yards. What was your breakout game that year?
That year,
Yep.
oh man, that's a great question. Probably Iowa.
Mhm.
And it wasn't from a yard perspective. Like I think I just went over 100, but they hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in like 4 or 5 years.
Mm,
And so now we got whooped in the game, but like that was probably like a statement game as far as like, okay, he's legit back. Kansas, we played Kansas. And I think I went for like 150 or something at Kansas, hurt, like visibly hurt. Um, so I would say those, and then Colorado late in the year put up like 100 something on Colorado, and that was the first time we had like 100-yard rusher since like in 3 or 4 years, I think. So that game put me over 1,000 yards in the season, and so I would say those three were like bigger games that junior year for me. Yeah,
so that year, that's the same year y'all played in the Insight Bowl, right?
yeah, yeah.
And you got
So
MVP. Who did y'all play?
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Yeah, so
Uh,
that was man, Green. I had never made a bowl game. Like I think, like I said, I lost maybe 5 games in high school. Man, we won like 4 games my red shirt year, like 2 or 3 games my red shirt freshman year, like 4 games my red shirt sophomore year, and then that's when we kind of went on had a good year that
yeah.
junior year. So go to the Insight Bowl, play Minnesota. It was a close game back and forth. I think we had like 4 turnovers. I think we'd have blown them out, but we had 4 turnovers.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't know they gave away like MVP. This is how green I was, man. I didn't know that you fly to the bowl site and you practice there all week. I'm thinking it's like an away game. We practice at campus all week and then we just fly there for the game. No, you there for a week practicing. So we played in Arizona at Arizona State's campus. And I'm glad I ain't go there because I wouldn't have done no school. Like, listen, man, Arizona State had way too many distractions, man. The weather is just it's next level. It's a party school too. I don't know if
No.
people know that,
No,
but
I,
like,
I was watching that. I'm like, that's definitely a party school.
yeah, it's a party school. But no, we down there for a week. We practice in Minnesota. You know, you have bowl events and activities and stuff together sometimes with different teams. Man, I wasn't drinking or anything because I was like, man, I'll drink after the season. I'm trying to like, I have
So
a goal. Like, I want to win this and be done. So I didn't drink the whole season. But we was out in the club one night because they bring your curfew down. So like the first night was like 3 a.m. Like y'all gonna be out till 3 a.m. So I just yeah.
what?
Cause you're there for a week, bro. Like you don't have nothing to do, but there's no class. This is
No class.
like
Don't
winter.
holiday break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I flew out the day after Christmas. And so it's like you don't have no class or nothing. So it's like the first night you get there, we had like a 3 a.m. curfew. And
Hmm.
they started to pare it back as it get closer to game day. But so yeah, we out in the club, it's us and like Minnesota and across the club. I'm like, oh man, what's about to go down? So, cause I'm thinking like, yo, we about to play a game. Like, we not friends, we not cool, none of that. Like, we enemies. And so I'm thinking stuff's about to go down. Nothing happened, but it was like, man, we in the club just looking at each other like about to kick y'all, come game day. It's all for y'all.
Right.
So we end up playing New Year's Eve. I didn't know they gave offense and defensive like MVP trophies. But yeah, end up winning that. It was great because like I knew a couple guys on the team, got Nate Triplett back for beating us when he played for Delano.
Mhm.
So man, and I'll say that team, they talk more trash than anybody I ever played, bro. Like from A&M, Missouri, Nebraska, that Minnesota team talk more trash than anybody I've ever played. And to be as sorry as they lost the Insight Bowl 3 years in a row. So
Was Brewster the coach there?
was it Tim Brewster? I think so. I
Had to
think
be.
so because Mason was gone. Glenn Mason was gone. So I think it was Tim Brewster. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's
but
crazy. You could have been there
yeah,
helping him out.
yeah. But it was good. I didn't. There's some personal motivation behind that too. Of like, y'all told me you didn't think I know it wasn't this staff, but y'all told me y'all Didn't think I was good enough running back. And it's my home school. Like, I got to go back after this, right? Like, until I got to go back to school, I got to go back to the city. I'm not going back and taking that L. Y'all take that L. Y'all not going to talk about me in the city.
Right.
No.
Facts.
Yeah. So I said, no, y'all not going to have me walking with my head down. Nope. So, yeah, no. So that was a good game, man. And then the great thing about it was New Year's Eve. So, like, the game finished at 10, and I went out after that. And it was like, people were just buying me drinks. Come. And I'm
MVP.
like, oh, man. Man, it was wild. It was a wild night. So,
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
yeah.
dope. I didn't know they let y'all rock out like that. I went small
Yeah.
ball, so we after the game we was going out regardless. We had no curfews. They ain't tell us we had to do nothing. We wasn't even doing that much traveling like state to state. So
Uh,
that's
yeah.
what's up though.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is how people get. Like when you make bowl game, you get per diem because you're not at school. So that's how people stack. So I took the per diem, and I was saving that for my spring break the next year. So it's like
Mm,
I pocketed the money, and it's like once you're done, the school can fly you back, or they can give you money to get back with your family. Season's done. I rolled back with my family. It was like, give me the 500-600, and I'm gonna use that, put that aside for spring break. And so that's how guys. Before this NIL, that's how guys were making money off of stuff. It was like you had to be smart with how you manage that stuff. So,
yeah, Iowa State didn't throw you no bread, man.
man, I'm glad I didn't come out in this NIL. Oh man, you know how
Man,
much money I could have got? Like man,
man,
yeah,
look, you were a 1,000 yard rusher. You should have been. Hey, I need about 1,000 a week, man.
I ain't get
Some.
nothing, bro.
Dang.
I finally wised up. It was like some of the older cats put me on games. Like, hey man, don't do the whole meal plan. Cut the meal plan in half. Get cash. Buy
Mhm.
some groceries. Whoop whoop whoop. So yeah, but yeah, man,
Hey, I feel
nothing.
that. So, I remember watching a day in the life on YouTube with you on there. Talk
Yeah.
about that experience. How was that?
Yeah, so that was different. I think that was going into my senior
Senior
year.
year? Yep.
Like social media. So I didn't come up in a time when social media was big. So like Twitter started like maybe my junior senior year, and then Instagram didn't come till after that. Facebook was up, but you had to have like a school email to get connected. So social media wasn't a thing. So it just started coming out, and they wanted to do something to like help recruit and give guys an inside peek into what camp life was like. And so they followed me around for a couple days and just filmed like different stuff, like what does it take me through a normal day. So like, all right, we wake up, we get boom. And actually wasn't that fun from like the film side of it, of me having to be filmed. It was like, hey, we need to put a mic on you and do this or that, and like, hey, we need to follow you around, and hey, can we pull you aside to talk about this? And it's like, bro, this is camp. Leave me alone. Like
The
this
worst
ain't
part
like no fun
was
period.
for.
Yeah. Like it's like, bro, this is all we got. People sleeping in the locker room, like,
Yeah, it was
sleeping
on there.
bags. Yeah, pillows, blankets. Like we sleeping on floors, people laying out on locker benches. Like this ain't no glorious time. And y'all adding to it with hey, we want to interview you for this or that. And like, so yeah, man, it was different. But it was a good experience to be able to go through that and like hopefully be able to give recruits a peek at, hey, this is what you can expect in camp. And like this is really what it is. I start at 6, 7 a.m. and I'm not leaving the facility till like 9 or 10. And then I'm back the next day. And like nothing else matters. Like you just gotta get ready for the season. So
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I
yeah,
seen that. I seen that. I watched it a bunch of times. I'm looking like,
yeah,
man, because I think I was getting myself. I think I was like, either I was in college, or I was getting myself ready for college. I was just like, man, ain't no way I'm doing that. But it was fun though.
uh,
Like it's good. It's good to see. I'm sure the pixels on that video right now looks crazy because it's so
yeah,
old. But yeah, definitely. I do remember because I remember like my first camp, dude. Like when I tell you, I've never been this tired. Like I got kids, but I'm
yeah,
talking about like that's worse than having kids because it was never no break. It's literally us, like you said, 6 a.m. to like 10 p.m. or 11, depending on the meeting time, and then you
yeah,
gotta do it for like 3 weeks straight. Like it's crazy. Like no
yeah,
breaks either. You might get one day off, but that's it. It's
yeah, yeah.
crazy.
And the thing is, like, this is back when we could still have 2 days. So if the coaches wasn't happy with the first practice and you was in full pads, you was in full pads the afternoon again.
Y'all
And it's
didn't
like,
do 3 practices?
no, we had two.
Well, we
No,
had
we
three
were.
practices,
Oh
bro.
yeah,
We
they was
had
trying to kill y'all.
walk through, and then two practice. Walk through was a practice though.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. Then yeah,
Yeah.
if you count and walk through, yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, cool.
I mean like full padded, like either shells or full pads,
Shell pass. Yeah.
hitting like, oh man, it's like, bro, we got this ain't getting us ready for the season. Like,
this is hurting us. People are getting hurt.
Yeah,
Like, man, I personally hurt. I ain't tried to, but me personally, I knocked somebody out in camp.
yeah,
Because offense, defense, we fighting all the
yeah,
time, and
yeah,
I'm like, why are we doing this? Now we're down a man. Like, it's
yeah.
crazy, but it's football. That's what we do.
You right. You right.
But yeah, so your senior year comes, man.
Yeah,
And I seen something where it says you was like the fifth back to reach 3,000 yards in school history. So you was steadily improving. How
yeah,
was that year for you? I mean, it's a two-part question.
yeah,
And before that, did you have any like interest in the league? What was your mindset on that going into
yeah.
your senior?
That's a great question. Going into my senior year, uh, that was tough, man. Looking back, I probably should have left after my junior year. I don't think my stock was higher than my junior year. Because then they expected it again senior year or to surpass it senior year, right? But the makeup of your team changes because you lose guys. So
Right.
we lost some linemen and things, so things changed. But my makeup going into my mindset, I should say, going into my senior year was I want another bowl game. I didn't want to end because I only made one in my career. I was like, I just want to get to another bowl game and win and go out on the right note. For all the guys that we had went through this struggle with, I mean, my class, like I said, in the class, my class and the class ahead of me had three different head coaches, three different strength coaches, three different coordinators, offense, defense. So it's like we had been through a lot together. And so it's like we wanted to send each other out on the right note. So that was our mindset. But we had a gauntlet. I don't know if you go back and look at it or not, if it's still there, but I think we had the toughest schedule in the nation that year. So we played, I think we opened up with like Northern Illinois. We played Iowa. They were definitely ranked. Then we had a 3 game stretch where we played Utah when they were like top 10. We played Oklahoma when they were the number one team in the nation. Then we played Texas. And then we turned around. We had like a break. We played Kansas, who may have been unranked. And then we turned around and played Nebraska, who was top 10, and Missouri, who was like top 5 at the time. So we just ran a gauntlet, man. It was bad. It was bad. I think we had the toughest schedule in the nation that year. Like it was the
Mm,
number one as far as who we played. So it's like, man, I just got to get to a bowl game again. We fell 1 win short. Lost that Missouri game, the last game, 14-0. And that kicked us out. But yeah, man, it was my mindset was just like, man, I want to send everybody out on the right note and let's get to a bowl game again. It didn't happen, so that was rough. And then leave the program in a better place than we came into it. And I think we did that for sure. So
yeah. How was the fans at Iowa State? Because I'll be watching the games. Obviously we know we got Big Jalen there, so I was
yeah,
already tapped in with that. So and man, it looked like it'd be that stadium looked like it'd be rocking.
yeah, yeah. And they've changed it a bunch since I've been there. But I went not last year, the year before for homecoming again. This is my first time back in like a decade. That place is unrecognizable, man. They've added more seats. I still think we had the best like game day experience in the nation. Like, and I'm talking, I've been to Texas, Oklahoma,
Mhm.
Missouri, A&M, but we have this big parking lot right next to the football field, and so it's like the football field, this big parking lot, and then the basketball stadium. But people be camping out there, tailgating. It's just like crazy atmosphere, and then they go right into the stadium, and it's like there's no like you ain't got to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole, move your car, or walk a long distance, and like so. I still think it's like the best game day experience I've ever seen. But the fans are crazy, man. Like I said, we won 2, 3 games. They would pack the stadium every
Right.
week. So it was good, man. It was a real good experience. The fans are phenomenal. They travel well. I'll say that they packed out the stadium in Arizona when we played there. Basketball always travels well. So yeah, the fans are phenomenal, phenomenal.
Did you used to go to the basketball games? I'm assuming.
Yeah, occasionally. Some of them were during the week, and it's like, man, I got homework and stuff. Like, bro, I hope y'all win, but I gotta get stuff done. You still got, like I said, you still a student, so you still gotta get stuff done. And
Uh,
but if I was hosting people, like I was on hosting a recruit or something, yeah, I would definitely go to basketball games and things. So
Okay, yeah. So after the season, man, NFL, that's where we trying to go. So what was
yeah,
that process like? Like, did you have to hire an agent, and like, what was your stock at the time? Because you said in junior, that's when you should have left.
yeah.
So cool. Like that.
So everything I got leading up to it was like, hey, you're probably a late round pick. preferred undrafted free agent, or like I don't know what they call it, like undrafted free agent, but like a preferred, like one of the first ones that you can grab off the undrafted.
Right.
That process, I think I started talking to agents probably right after my junior season, and just trying to get a feel for like what, like I didn't know anybody that went through that, and so it was foreign to me, and so it's
Right.
like I didn't know who I could ask about whatever. We didn't really have the services at the school to tell you, hey, here's what you should or shouldn't
Hmm.
do necessarily when looking for an agent, and so I just guys were reaching out, and I'd have conversations with them, have them talk to me and my parents, and then just I just selected a guy that I felt comfortable with, that I felt like, hey man, he would advocate for me and like try to get me in, and if what did his previous roster of guys look like, that type of thing, because like it wasn't realistic for me to get somebody that had worked with all first rounders, right? Like that's a different situation than I'm in. Teams aren't. I'm not a guaranteed draft pick. I want somebody that has some connections that can try to get me in somewhere. And so it was a long process. It was kind of stressful, just like the early part of recruiting, like coming out of high school.
Right.
I finally settled on a guy out of Colorado. He was like a lawyer agent, and so he was cool. He had connections, and one of his pitches was like, "Hey, we got a training facility that we send our guys to. We take care of everything. Like you don't owe us no money. Boom, boom, boom." So yeah, so stock wise, late round, early undrafted free agent. And then so yeah, just conversations was really how it boiled down to me of like, can this person help me, and do I think they have my best interest at heart? So
Okay. How was that? So where you at? You didn't get no combine. Uh,
no, I didn't get an invite. Um,
Pro day. So pro day was the route you had to do.
yeah,
And
so
how was that?
yeah, so it was good. Um, I went out to Cali to train, so I spent about 3 months in San Diego at a facility training with this dude who had played for the Chargers for several years. So that was phenomenal. I actually trained with a dude from Iowa who's passed away, Tyler Sash, rest in peace. So we got cool while we were out there. Another dude from Oregon named Justin Roper. He was a quarterback. But yeah, man, it was cool just to be there every day. You're just with dudes that are on the grind day in and day out. So we're working out twice a day. Crazy story. So when there was a quarterback coach out there named George, he was working with Justin, and this is the year that Cam came out. And so he ended up grabbing Cam. And so we was catching balls and running routes for Newton when Cam came out there. And dude was big, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Cam
Yeah,
was a big dude. Like
6'6" boy,
no,
quarterback.
he was big, man. He was big. Like Newton was big, but he was a cool dude, willing to chop it up and everything. Um, and so yeah, so I'm out there. Didn't get a combine invite. I did play in this bowl game. It was like a brand new. It wasn't like the East West Shrine or anything. So I'm going back in Arizona. So I trained for a little bit, and then I went to play there in the game. Dudes did me dirty there, man. We had three other backs: Nick Grigsby out of Arizona, Moses Madu out of Oklahoma, and then me. We all practice all week. We get to the game, and they like, "Hey man, my agent said I need to sit this one out. I don't need to get injured." I said, "So you telling me I'm gonna take all these reps? I'm on special teams too." I said, "Y'all wildin', man." They're like, "Hey man," they ain't tell
That's
me this till like hour before the game. I'm like, "Y'all tripping, man." But it is what it is. More reps for me to get in and get seen. So play that game, and I fly back to Cali to train. Fly to Iowa State in like March or April to do the pro day. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's like a day. They just grilling you. It's very militaristic. Like boom, this to this to this. Don't jump the order. Don't boom boom. Like we have very strict rules on how we gonna run this. So yeah, I went through that. That was a good experience. I don't think I tested as well as I wanted to initially, but I should say ran. I don't think I ran as well as I wanted to, but I think that's you always like, damn, I could have ran faster or something like that. But strength wise, jump wise, I think I did straight. So yeah,
so when it comes down to draft time, what was your obviously you didn't get drafted. That's a bummer, but you
yeah.
had some undrafted free agents choices. Didn't the Giants like offer you like a guaranteed deal?
No, it wasn't guaranteed. So I don't know how much people remember about that draft, but it was the lockout year. And so
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you didn't get drafted, you couldn't talk to teams until the lockout. They agreed on the collective bargaining agreement. So I was just sitting in limbo from the time I didn't get drafted until
the
like
lock.
a day before camp, 2 days before camp. But I had a lot of interest from the Bears ahead of it, the Dolphins that called me several times. So I thought one of them was going to pick me up, and the Giants had reached out too. So I thought one of them was picking. Philly said they were like they saw me at the bowl game I went to in Arizona, not the one after I went when I was training and stuff.
Yeah,
So they saw me there for that little All-Star game, and they were like, "We draft you, but you basically the same back as LaShawn McCoy, and it ain't no point in us having two backs like that." That makes sense. But anyway, so the lockout gets lifted. The Giants called me and was like, "Hey, we want to bring you in. Make sure you're in shape. Then we'll sign you." So it's like, all right, cool. So I'm driving to go see my niece. She had just been born, my brother's daughter. On the drive down, my agent called me. He's like, "Hey, I got good news." And I'm like, "I already got good news." He's like, "No, the Vikings said they'll bring you in right now. No tryout." And the business side of things is you got to take the guarantee.
Right.
Hindsight, that's a bad decision, right? AP, Toby Gerhardt, they had just signed Lorenzo Booker.
What was Chester Taylor going at the time?
Who?
Chester Taylor was
Justin
gone.
Taylor, he was gone. He was gone. So that's why they brought Booker in, because he was going to be like that third down back. So looking at that, it's like, what were my real odds of making the squad? Like the active roster, slim to none. The Giants had like Ahmad Bradshaw, and I think he had just left, and then like the big dude, Brandon Taylor, maybe I think.
Jacobs. Oh
Yeah,
man.
Brandon Jacobs. Yeah, yeah. 27. So it's like they only had those two, and they were both gone as free agents. So it's like they were looking for backs. It's like hindsight, I should have went there, and two of
Right.
my guys went there. So one of the dudes I was training with, Tyler, he got drafted, and then my safety from Iowa State, David Sims, he also went there on a free agent deal. So it's like I should have went that route, but
Mm,
business. The business is you take the guarantee over the maybe, right?
right.
So
So you get there, you get to the camp, right? How was that training camp, NFL training camp? Because
man, it's wild.
I went up there, I saw it, I was like, ain't no way. Like it was hot in Mankato. You ain't had no shade.
Nothing, nothing. And it's just a grind, man. It's different than college in a sense that everybody's there for themselves. That
Right.
locker room is not really like you don't have the college camaraderie because they don't know if you're gonna be there a week from now. You could get cut. So what's the point in me like forming a
Right.
bond or a friendship with you if you could be gone tomorrow? So that's tough. It's like you on your own. But I found a couple of dudes that was willing to like Percy Harvin was real cool, willing to take me under his wing a bit. I really owe a lot of my career to McNabb, man. He Donovan McNabb, because he looked out for me when he had to. He was like, hey, coach, young buck ain't got no reps. Let me step forward and make sure he gets a rep. Like he really looked out for me in getting me reps and stuff. When he absolutely did, like this is a dude that's played in the Super Bowl at this point. Like he had to look out for me, but he was really like, I'm gonna take you on there. I'm gonna make sure you get reps, man. Speak up. Like, make sure you get reps and let them see what you can do. So I appreciated that. But it's a grind. AP ain't taking really reps in camp, right? He'll get one or two
Right.
reps just to get his wheels going, and then like the rest of y'all got to battle it out. Um, and you probably ain't gonna play that much in the game either. So you got to take advantage of the reps you get in the game until that fourth
Right.
preseason when they evaluating everybody, and then you can get some reps. But yeah, man, it's a grind. It's different level. You got to know how to take care of your body. It's not like college where you can go and hey, this hurts and like I'm probably gonna be limited today. No, you trying to make a team. It don't matter if you sore or you hurt, your pinky hanging. You better get it taped up and get back in there because these are the only chances you get. Yeah, man, it's different. It's a different environment. A lot of it has to be self motivated too. Like even I'm thinking about some of the lifts and stuff we did. We didn't do a whole bunch of conditioning. We did the conditioning test, and then it was like condition yourself. It's a lot of you got to be self driven, and it's a lot of it is relationship driven. There's some guys there, in my opinion, that shouldn't be there, but the agent was friends with a GM or knows somebody in the front office, and like that's just the business side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was AP? You have any?
Yeah, that I've never seen an athlete as freakish as him that
Mhm.
don't get tired. That like this, I've seen. Okay, A gap, C gap, right?
Right.
So I seen AP make a jump cut from the A gap literally to the C gap, and it not like he stopped and like
It was a
just
stride.
natural movement, like boom. And I was like, and his acceleration, like 0 to 100, like, it just insane. His work ethic too of like he came in one day after practice and AP ain't really had to like practice and you couldn't touch AP either, so it wasn't like he was getting hit in practice.
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, like you was hands off. So he came in from practice one day and he was sweating. I said, man, what you do? He's like, oh, I just ran outside and I ran on the treadmill. He's like, I ran like a lap at like 9 or 7 miles per hour and I ran the last three at 9. I said, all right, I'm finna go try it. Man, hell, hey, listen, you ever tried to do that? A lap at 7 and then 3 laps at 9 miles per hour? Bro,
Mhm.
ouch. I was
Yeah,
hurt. I was
different.
hurt. It's different. But then I was like, hey, man, next time you do it, come get me. And so the next time he ran like gassers or hills after practice, he grabbed me. It was like, all right, we're gonna do it. And then like I did it with him. So, but yeah, just a freak athlete. His mindset too, like he had a notebook, and I'll never forget this. And I do some of this to this day, even at work. He had like all these positive mantras wrote on his notebook. And like that's his mindset. All he don't let outside noise get to. He like focused on it. So his mindset was a lot different too. And that was the first time I had seen somebody really like locked in on to being great. So
That's what's up. So
yeah,
you get to the game, like you said, you don't get to really play to the last game. But the last game, did he
yeah.
show out? You had about 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, I had a touchdown for sure. For sure, I
One.
had a touchdown. I still got the ball somewhere around here in the crib.
Yeah,
So I said that if nothing else, I could say I scored in the NFL. So
you did.
yeah, but I played the first game a bit, a couple reps. Booker got hurt, and so that helped me get some more reps as well. One of the other backs that was there got hurt, so that helped me get some reps and things. So man, I started to like come on
Hmm.
late in the camp, late in preseason. I really started to feel like I was getting things, getting the grasp of things, getting a feel for the offense, how the holes were going to open up, where I could hit, what I was reading. And even Toby said that to me. Like he was like, "You starting to get this down." Like towards the end of camp, he's like, "You starting to get this." Um, and so yeah, man, it was different. I will say that I don't know how it is outside the box, but the game is faster, man. Like I seen Everson Griffin. I don't know if y'all remember him. He was a DN
Yeah, yeah.
here. He came from USC, ran like a 4.5. Like I seen him like come crash down on like a dive, stop, redirect, and chase it back down. Like I ain't never seen no stuff like that. Everybody's the best of the best, and
Hmm.
even the D lineman can run 4.5, 4.6. Like it's insane. It's a faster game. You got to just get used to speed. It's again, I don't
Right.
know how it is outside the box, but inside the box, it's everybody good, everybody strong. And I ain't never seen nobody as fast as Percy Harvin though in person.
Yeah,
Like
it was different.
this Ohio State DB, he was a rookie. Gave him like a 15-yard cushion. Percy was running to go. He passed through by like the 30-yard mark. It was insane. I ain't never seen nobody that fast in my life. 0 to
Mhm.
100, 3 steps. Crazy.
Yeah, man, them headaches messed him up, man. Cause he could have really been like one of the best ever.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Dang.
Um,
So did you get to keep your jerseys?
no, I didn't get to keep the jerseys. I kept the
Why not?
football. That's just how it was. Oh, here's the other thing though, bro. You get so this is what they don't tell you about the league. They're like, oh, people bring all their family to the game. They got 40 people here. You get 2 tickets. Everything else you got to pay for. And back in 2011, during the recession time period, there was $90 a pop. So my last check, maybe 300, 400, because my family members wanted to come, right? And it was a home game. So I'm getting everybody seats. No money.
More money.
No money. Get no money, bro. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man. Yeah. And you could try to get tickets from other people and stuff to boost, but I think I had like 10 people at that game. My 2 homies, mom, dad, niece, neighbor, like 2 uncles or 2 aunts and uncle. Like, bro, my check was gone. ninety
Dang.
dollars a pop, bro. It was crazy.
You should have did that, man. I feel it though.
You got to. It's like when
Got to.
you because you don't know if you're gonna make the team
You
or
know.
not. So
So
it's like so yeah.
yes. All right. So the preseason ended. You made the last the wire, and then what happened after that? Did
I
you
got
have any
cut.
cut?
At
Okay.
so there was like the cutoff is 4 o'clock. It was like you don't get a call by 4 o'clock, you good. You on the team. So I didn't really know how the process worked. You can still get cut and make a practice squad. So I get a call at 3:55. 3:50 hit. I'm like, oh, I'm solid, bro. It's 10 minutes thing for to call me. 3:55, my phone ring. I look like, oh man, who this? It's like, hey, Robinson, yeah, this is such and such. Can you come to the facility? Sure, I can come. Hey, huh? Bring your playbook. All right. So go in there. It's a sad day to be in the facility though, because like I said, people get cut. You don't know if you ever gonna see them again, whatever, whatever. Um, so yeah, man, I get the cut. Leslie Frazier sat me down. He's like, man, I think you did some great things. You got a lot of potential. Whoop, whoop. Hey, stay in shape. It's a long season. You never know what happened with injuries and things. Just be ready. If your phone's called, be ready. But we're not gonna bring you up on the practice squad. So, all right. whatever. So that was it. Didn't hear from him again that season. Late in the season, I think AP had tore his ACL that year versus the Redskins at the time, the Commanders. Then, so yeah, then they brought me back the next year for like the rookie mini camp because I didn't get that. And that's when I really learned it was a business. So I was rooming with another running back who had went to like UCLA, and he was like, "Oh yeah, my agent was roommates with Spellman in college. Spellman was the GM." And
Right.
I'm like, "Bro, what I'm doing here then?"
Right.
So, so that's when I was like, all right, man, there's a lot of people that just, based on who they know. It's not necessarily from talent or anything. So he ended up making the team too. So it is what it is. Yeah, so that's how it was. And then after that, I didn't hear anything. I made some bad decisions in there too. Like I switched agents, listened to some people who was like, hey man, you should be on the team. Your agent ain't working for you. You should at least be in Canada. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So I got rid of my agent and signed with a guy who I had no connections with, didn't know me, and like I had reached out to him, was like, "Hey, how you pitching me to Canadian teams?" And he's like, "Oh, I told him I had this receiver and asked if they needed a running back." I said, "Bro, that's not pitching me. Like that ain't working." So yeah, man, it's different. League is different.
Did you do anything else after that, or you just like lost it up?
Yeah, no, I went to indoor football. There was a new league, the IFL, that was starting, so I went down to Cedar Rapids, and nah, man, it
When that
wasn't right. So it was. They was like, yeah, we supposed to put y'all in this hotel. We was in this motel. There was rust on the toaster. We wasn't getting paid. Like man, I ain't gonna dog them out. But I had to tape my pants. We ain't had belts.
y'all
Jerseys were
sharing
super
helmets?
long. Sharing helmets. Yeah, man, it just wasn't. I'm like, man, if I'm out here and I get hurt and the team call me, like they're just saying, like what I was told it was gonna be never materialized. And I
Mm.
gave him some time. I gave him a couple weeks, and like, bro, I'm not supposed to be in this motel. You told me this. You're supposed to be paying for my meals. You're supposed to be hooking me up with a job. None of this is coming to fruition. Like, I'm not gonna do this. Funny story though. We playing. I told you I had to tape my pants, and we had this
Mhm.
long jersey. So a fan yells from the stand. I'm back for a kick return. Fan yells from the stand. Robinson, tuck your jersey in. It looks like a dress. So I lift it up to show him like I can't because my stuff is taped to my skin. I'm like, bro, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, this is what y'all
That's
got me messing with. So
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
man, it was wild. But after that, no, I didn't do anything. So
you was done. So the
yeah,
real world happened. So life after. So you just
yeah,
started into that, work mode
yeah. So it was like I think we all know there's dudes that hang on to the dream too long, right?
for sure.
Like every year there's a batch of 1,000 in your position coming out. And I just didn't want to be that guy that hung on for and looked up and I'm 30 still trying to pursue a career in the league.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, how do I figure out how do I transition?
Right.
And
Because you graduated from college, so you had a degree.
yep,
So
had a
you had
degree.
that working for you.
Yep. But which was hard too though, because there's still recession. Like I
Hmm.
came out into the recession to recovery, like people trying to recover from the recession, 08, 09 recession. And so people weren't hiring. Like businesses weren't really hiring and stuff. And so my first job was at Macy's. So I worked there for a couple months, got a job at Enterprise because they hire a lot of former athletes. And then from a chance encounter there, I got into the finance field. So I rented a dude a car and they called me. It was like, hey, he thinks you'd be a good fit for a position at this credit union. Would you be
Yeah.
interested? Boom, boom. So, but I would say that was one of the hardest periods of my life of just, you say sports don't, you don't, like it doesn't define you. But after you've played for almost 10 years and that's what you've done day in and day out, it's hard to figure out, okay, who am I outside of sports, or like who do I identify as outside of Alexander the football player? And so I was lost for a while trying to figure out like, all right, what do I like, what do I want to do, who am I? It's like, dang man, I'm like, I actually kind of like art. I don't know nobody from our neighborhoods that like art. Like, not at that age. And that so I started gravitating and finding different stuff out about myself. But that's a tough period of, who are you after football ends and like who do you want to be? I think they've got things in place now for people to dabble in different interests early on, but we didn't have that when I came out. It was like just get a job.
Right. Get a job.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, what you up to? Oh, working. Just
Yeah.
working. Like, that's what
Yeah.
it. At the end of the day, that's what it comes to, man. That's funny, man. But it's good that you did have like your experiences. Like everybody is unique. You know what I'm saying? So like you had your
Yeah.
football experience, and then some. Like you said, some people do not know how to give it up. I know somebody right now that's still trying to play football. And I'm like, come on, bro,
Nah, man.
come
Shoot,
on.
y'all almost a decade out. Y'all passed a decade out.
Yeah, we out.
Yeah.
15 years out from high school, so it's like I'm cool, man.
Yeah.
And then you got look, we ain't got that much time, but you did
Yeah.
dabble into coaching,
Yeah.
so I know that was like experience for you as well. We actually ended up coaching together, so that was kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, you're not doing that right now, are you?
Nah. Nah.
Okay,
Maybe someday in the future, but nah.
yeah, it's a different time right now with
Yeah.
these kids.
Yeah.
It's a little different, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we ain't even
Yeah.
gotta talk
We'll
about
leave that
that.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fine.
yeah, yeah. So my last two questions. My first question is like, who's the top five players you think you played with? They could be like from high school. Be Let's exclude the league because you could say five
Yeah.
people off the like
From the league.
AP, Percy Hartman. I mean, you could use stuff. Give me two people from the league. Rest is college, high school, whatever.
Oh man. Okay, that's hard. AP Percy from the league, freak athletes, insanely talented, hard workers, but cool dudes too. Like not, because you get some people that are that way and then they like kind of standoffish. Again, neither one of them was like that. Really cool dudes. Damn, you'll get me in trouble with this one. All right, I'll go two from college. Todd Blythe, he was a receiver. This gonna be hard for high school because I feel like I'm gonna leave so many good people out. So
It's
uh
your five.
my
It's your
five. Uh Cam for sure because Cam was the guy. He wasn't like the overly athletic guy. He wasn't jumping out of the gym. He wasn't gonna really run past a lot of people. But you threw the ball up, Cam was coming down with it. It just hands were phenomenal. Ultimate competitor. So Cam Reynolds for sure. Um, Corey Hansen. I would say Corey was phenomenal too, just from like what he was asked to do as like a wing T quarterback, and
right.
still being kind of a freak athlete, playing linebacker and going to do that in college. Uh, then I just got to drop everybody else: Jamar, Cyrus, Cube Liggins, Cruz, Josh Cruz, Lavelle. Like so, it was a lot of dudes, man. It
Your
was a lot of dudes.
class. I got you.
Yeah, and the class above me has some really good dudes too. But if I had to, it's hard to cut people out. But
No,
those
no.
would be the people. Yeah,
All right, my last question before I would always give people their flowers at the end. Is there anything like you want to say to the youth? I don't know, even thinking about like your younger years, like you said, you have some regrets about
yeah,
some things in your life.
yeah,
So is there any like motivation for like the youth? Anything you could tell them like from your perspective? Because you play professional. These days these kids want to do that, and
yeah,
now for me personally, I know you're a successful man in your career. So, is there
yeah,
anything you want to tell the youth?
yeah. I think this one carries outside of just sports, but the hidden work matters. The work you do when the lights aren't on, um, when it's not mandatory workouts or mandatory training or whatever in your life, the stuff that you do that is extra outside of everybody else, that's what sets you apart. And I don't mean if you're training like you have your team training sessions and you got to go do something hard, but take a ladder to the park and do some footwork drills at half speed or three-quarter speed. Like those days start to stack up. So everybody else get the team sessions, but now you getting extra sessions in. That stuff matters. And then the other thing that I would say is just be intentional, right? Like I think a lot of people get influenced by social media and what the other person's doing, this or that. But man, set your own goals and just keep your head down and focus on those. I think setting goals and setting a plan in place to achieve those goals, that goes a long way because it's easy to just drift and be like, oh, I want this, I want that, and not ever get a plan in place to actually go get it. So yeah, do the hidden work that matters, and then be intentional. Those that's what I would say. And then for the dudes, forget about the females. Like I tried to tell a couple of the players we coach, like I get it, man. You want to go to college, and you got all these females from all over, but man, stay focused. Stay focused. So
I feel that, yeah. So yeah, no, that's good, man. Because people need to hear it, man. Like I don't feel like kids listen to the right people,
yeah,
or like they listen to too many people
yeah,
and not the right person. So that's real good that you said that. And obviously, man, I'm gonna give you your flowers, man. Like I said, oh my mic. When I first saw you, man, like, and this is not just me. I know this is for a lot of people like me, Evan, Donzel, even Jeremy. Like you were the standard. you were the first person we saw that was like, okay, this is the dude that did it. You know what I'm saying? You know, bringing it back to when we first met at the Vikings camp.
Yeah,
You know, you ain't had to take a picture of me. You ain't had to take my number down or nothing. It was a period where you were watching my games and telling me, critiquing me on my games, giving me feedback, and that went a long way for me, man. Because like I needed that, and you were there for me. After I graduated, we stayed connected. We still, connected to this day. Like you are a person, like I know if I need to call you or reach out to you, you've always been available for me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that's the DeLaSalle community. I tell people like we talked about earlier. We can always go back and talk to somebody, and it's a community. We're gonna be there for each other. So yeah, man. Like I said, I'm giving you your flowers, man. You made it to the league. A lot of people can't say that. You played Division 1, and you were very impactful at your program. A lot of people can't say that. Yeah, bro. Really appreciate you. I'm grateful, for our friendship, our brotherhood. I'm grateful that you got on this pod because this is a dope pod. A lot of people hit me up, get A-Rob. I'm like, that's not a problem. That's easy. I just got to make sure he's not busy because I know he's
yeah,
busy. You know
man.
what I'm saying? So, like, even for me to, like, get you on here, man, like, it's just the relationship and just, like,
Yeah,
I know you've always been here for me and always, congratulate me on my success. Like, I
yeah,
remember we lived literally like 2 minutes away from each other when we was in Bloomington, so that
yeah.
was kind of dope as well too. So, but yeah, bro, I just want to give you your flowers and thank you
I
for having
appreciate
the
it.
pod. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
rolling it out this week.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
appreciate you having me on, man, and continued blessings and success to you with this. You've had some great episodes, so I continue looking forward to watching them.
for
You
sure,
know, I
bro.
mean, man, I had to spin the Grant one in the car on the way home. That's how busy I be. I just had to listen to it.
No, I know, and I got it on Spotify too. I gotta upload some on there, so like I try to make it available for others because anybody gonna watch YouTube. Some people don't do it, but
Yeah.
that's just I'm just trying to put it out there because people like to see the visuals. I'm a visual learner, so that's
Yeah.